सिया राम, जय जय सिया राम,
जय सिया राम, जय जय सिया राम,
जय सिया राम, जय जय सिया राम,
जय सिया राम, जय जय सिया राम।
बोलो राम 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 राजा राम,
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 बोलो राम 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 राजा राम।
जय सिया राम, जय जय सिया राम,
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 जय सिया राम,
जय सिया राम,
जय सिया राम,
जय सिया राम।
जय सिया राम। बोले सियावर रामचंद्र की, सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। कृष्ण कृष्ण मुकुंदा जनार्दना, कृष्ण कृष्ण लावले कृष्ण कृष्ण मुकुंदा जनार्दना, कृष्ण गोविंद नारायण हरे,
गोविंद नारायण हरे,
कृष्ण गोविंद नारायण हरे,
गोविंद नारायण हरे,
कृष्ण कृष्ण मुकुंदा जनार्दना,
कृष्ण कृष्ण मुकुंद जनार्दना,
कृष्ण गोविंद नारायण हरे,
कृष्ण गोविंद नारायण हरे,
अच्युतानंद गोविंद माधवा,
अच्युतानंद गोविंद माधवा,
अच्युतानंद गोविंद माधवा,
अच्युतानंद गोविंद माधवा,
सच्चिदानंद नारायण हरे,
सच्चिदानंद नारायण हरे,
सच्चिदानंद नारायण हरे,
सच्चिदानंद नारायण हरे,
कृष्ण कृष्ण मुकुंदा जनार्दना, कृष्ण कृष्ण मुकुंदा
जनार्दना,
कृष्ण कृष्ण मुकुंदा जनार्दना,
कृष्ण कृष्ण मुकुंद जनार्दना,
कृष्ण गोविंद नारायण हरे,
गोविंद नारायण हरे,
कृष्ण गोविंद नारायण हरे,
गोविंद नारायण हरे,
अच्युतानंद गोविंद माधवा,
अच्युतानंद गोविंद माधवा,
अच्युतानंद गोविंद माधवा,
अच्युतानंद गोविंद माधवा,
सच्चिदानंद नारायण हरे,
सच्चिदानंद नारायण हरे,
सच्चिदानंद नारायण हरे,
सच्चिदानंद नारायण हरे,
कृष्ण कृष्ण मुकुंदा जनार्दना,
कृष्ण कृष्ण मुकुंद जनार्दना,
कृष्ण कृष्ण मुकुंदा जनार्दना,
कृष्ण कृष्ण मुकुंद जनार्दना,
कृष्ण गोविंद नारायण हरे,
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 कृष्ण गोविंद नारायण
हरे। बोलिए श्री कृष्णचंद्र भगवान की जय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
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 Hari Om everyone. Can you all see me and hear me clearly? Hope and pray that you're all doing well. I'm glad to say that our brahmacharyans who are down with COVID have come out of it. Still recovering, trying to gather up the strength. I'm told that they feel specially drained. So let's hope they get completely healed and active without feeling the drain. So we had that situation, so we didn't have last week's class, or 2 weeks in between class we didn't have. So we will start with the invocation, go through Lalita Sahasranamam, and then Bhagavatam. I think we are in the 5th chapter, so we will continue with that. Somewhere in the middle I think I left. So I'll start with the Veerabhadra and his Prachanda Parakrama, which is the direct result of Daksha Prajapati's arrogance and pride. Of course, all of this happened because Sati Devi did not think it was right of her to live in that body any further. So we'll get to that portion as a last piece of this discussion. So we'll start with the invocation. Please join me. सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः Give me 1 second. There we go. ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं सिन्दूरारुणविग्रहां त्रिनयनां माणिक्यमौलिस्फुरत् तारानायकशेखरां स्मितमुखीमापीनवक्षोरुहां पाणिभ्यां मलिपूर्णरत्नचषकं रक्तोत्पलं बिभ्रतीं सौम्यां रत्नघटस्थरक्तचरणां ध्यायेत् परामम्बिकाम् अरुणां करुणातरङ्गिताक्षीं धृतपाशाङ्कुशपुष्पबाणचापाम् अणिमादिभिरावृतां मयूखैः अहमित्येव विभावये भवानीं ध्यायेत् पद्मासनस्थां विकसितवदनां पद्मपत्रायताक्षीं हेमाभां पीतवस्त्रां करकलितलसद्धेमपद्मां वराङ्गीं सर्वालङ्कारयुक्तां सततमभयदां भक्तनम्रां भवानीं श्रीविद्यां शान्तमूर्तिं सकलसुरनुतां सर्वसम्पत्प्रदात्रीं सकुङ्कुमविलेपनामलिकचुम्बिकस्तूरिकां समन्दहसितेक्षणां सशरचापपाशाङ्कुशाम् अशेषजनमोहिनीमरुणमाल्यभूषाम्बरां जपाकुसुमभासुरां जपविधौ स्मरेदम्बिकाम् ॐ श्रीमाता श्रीमहाराज्ञी श्रीमत्सिंहासनेश्वरी चिदग्निकुण्डसम्भूता देवकार्यसमुद्यता उद्यद्भानुसहस्राभा चतुर्बाहुसमन्विता रागस्वरूपपाषाढ्या क्रोधाकाराङ्कुशोज्ज्वला मनोरूपेक्षुकोदण्डा पञ्चतन्मात्रसायका निजारुणप्रभापूरा मज्जद्ब्रह्माण्डमण्डला चम्पकाशोकपुन्नागसौगन्धिकलसत्कचा कुरुविन्दमनिःश्रेणी कनत्कोटीरमण्डिता अष्टमी चन्द्रविभ्राजदलिकस्थलशोभिता मुखचन्द्रकलङ्काभा मृगनाभिविशेषका वदनस्मरमाङ्गल्यघृतवर्णचिल्लिका वक्त्रलक्ष्मीपरीवाहा चलन्मीनाभलोचना नवचम्पकपुष्पाभा नासादण्डविराजिता ताराकान्तितिरस्कारी नासाभरणभासुरा कदम्बमञ्जरीक्लुप्तकर्णपूरमनोहरा ताटङ्कयुगलीभूता तपनोडुपमण्डला पद्मरागशिलादर्श परिभाविकपोलभूः नवविद्रुमबिम्बश्रीनक्कारिरदनच्छदा शुद्धविद्याङ्कुराकारा द्विजपङ्क्तिद्वयोज्ज्वला कर्पूरवीटिकामोदा समाकर्षितिकन्तरा निजसल्लाभमाधुर्या विनिर्भत्सितकच्चपी मन्दस्मितप्रभापूरा मज्जत्कामेशमानसा अनाकलितसादृश्या चिबुकश्रीविराजिता कामेशबद्धमाङ्गल्य सूत्रशोभितकन्दरा कनकाङ्गदकेयूरा कमनीयभुजान्विता रत्नग्रैवेयचिन्ताकलोलमुक्ताफलान्विता कामेश्वरप्रेमरत्नमणिप्रतिपनस्तनी नाभ्यालवालरोमाली लताफलकुचद्वयी लक्षरोमलताधारतासमुन्नेयमध्यमा स्तनभारदलन्मध्य पट्टबन्धवलित्रया अरुणारुणकौस्तुम्भ वस्त्रभास्वत्कटीतटी रत्नकिङ्किणिकारम्या रशनादामभूषिता कामेशज्ञातसौभाग्यमार्दवोरुद्वयान्विता माणिक्यमुकुटाकारा जानुद्वयविराजिता इन्द्रगोपरिक्षिप्ता स्मरत्तूर्णाभजङ्गिका गूढगुल्फा कूर्मपृष्ठा जयिष्णुप्रपदान्विता नखदीदिति सञ्चन्ना नमज्जनतमो गुणा पदद्वयप्रभाजाल कृतसरोरुहा सिञ्जाणमणिमञ्जीरमण्डितश्रीपदाम्बुजा मरालीमन्दगमना महालावण्यशेवधिः सर्वारुणानमद्याङ्गी सर्वाभरणभूषिता शिवकामेश्वराङ्कस्था शिवा स्वाधीनवल्लभा सुमेरुमध्यशृङ्गस्था श्रीमन्नगरनायिका चिन्तामणिगृहान्तस्था पञ्चब्रह्मासनस्थिता महापद्माटवी संस्था कदम्बवनवासिनी सुधासागरमध्यस्था कामाक्षी कामदायिनी देवर्षिगणसङ्घाता स्तूयमानात्मवैभवा भण्डासुरवधोद्युक्ता शक्तिसेना समन्विता सम्पत्करी समारूढा सिन्धुरव्रजसेविता अश्वारूढाधिष्ठिताश्वा कोटिकोटिभिरावृता चक्रराजरथारूढ़ा सर्वायुध परिष्कृता गेय चक्ररथारूढ़ा मंत्रिणी परिसेविता गिरिचक्ररथारूढ़ा दंडनाथा पुरस्कृता ज्वाला मालिनिका क्षिप्त वह्नि प्राकार मध्यगा भंड सैन्यवधोद्युक्ता शक्ति विक्रमहर्षिता नित्या पराक्रमाटोपा निरीक्षण समुत्सुका भंडपुत्रवधोद्युक्ता बाला विक्रमनंदिता मंत्रिण्यंबा विरचिता विषंगवदतोषिता विशुक्र प्राणहरणा वाराही वीर्यनंदिता कामेश्वर मुखालोका कल्पित श्री गणेश्वरा महागणेश निर्भिन्ना विघ्नयंत्र प्रहर्षिता भंडा सुरेंद्र निर्मुक्ता शस्त्र प्रत्यस्त्र वर्षिणी करांगुलिनखोत्पन्ना नारायण दशाकृति महापाशुपतास्त्राग्नि निर्दग्धासुर सैनिका कामेश्वर निर्दग्धा सबंधासुर शून्यका ब्रह्मोपेन्द्र महेन्द्रादि देव संस्तुत वैभवा हर नेत्राग्नि संदग्धा काम संजीवन औषधि श्रीमद्वाग्भव कूटैक स्वरूप मुखपंकजा कंठादक्कटि पर्यंत मध्यकूट स्वरूपिणी शक्ति कूटैकतापन्ना कट्यधो भागधारिणी मूल मंत्रात्मिका मूल कूटत्रयकलेवरा कुलामृतैक रसिका कुल संकेत पालिनी कुलांगना कुलांतस्था कौलिनी कुलयोगिनी अकुला समयांतस्था समयाचार तत्परा मूलाधारैक निलया ब्रह्म ग्रंथि विभेदिनी मणिपूरांतरुदिता विष्णु ग्रंथि विभेदिनी आज्ञा चक्रांतरालस्था रुद्र ग्रंथि विभेदिनी सहस्रारांबुजारूढ़ा सुधासाराभिवर्षिणी तडिल्लता समरुचि षट्चक्रोपरि संस्थिता महाशक्ति कुंडलिनी विसतंतुतनीयसी भवानी भावनागम्या भवारण्यकुठारिका भद्रप्रिया भद्रमूर्तिर्भक्त सौभाग्यदायिनी भक्तिप्रिया भक्तिगम्या भक्तिवश्या भयापहा शांभवी शारदाराध्या शर्वाणी शर्मदायिनी शांकरी श्रीकरी साध्वी शरच्चंद्र निभानना शातोदरी शांतिमती निराधारा निरंजना निर्लेपा निर्मला नित्या निराकारा निराकुला निर्गुणा निष्कला शांता निष्कामा निरुपप्लवा नित्यमुक्ता निर्विकारा निष्प्रपंचा निराश्रया नित्यशुद्धा नित्यबुद्धा निरवद्या निरंतरा निष्कारणा निष्कलंका निरुपाधिर्निरीश्वरा नीरागारागमथनी निर्मदा मदनाशिनी निश्चिंता निरहंकारा निर्मोहा मोहनाशिनी निर्ममा ममताहंत्री निष्पापा पापनाशिनी निष्क्रोधा क्रोधशमनी निर्लोभा लोभनाशिनी निस्संशया संशयग्नि निर्भवा भवनाशिनी निर्विकल्पा निराबाधा निर्भेदा भेदनाशिनी निर्नाशा मृत्युमथनी निष्क्रिया निष्परिग्रहा निस्तुला नीलचिकुरा निरपाया निरत्यया दुर्लभा दुर्गमा दुर्गा दुःखहंत्री सुखप्रदा दुष्टदूरा दुराचारा शमनी दोषवर्जिता सर्वज्ञा सान्द्रकरुणा समानाधिकवर्जिता सर्वशक्तिमयी सर्वमंगला सद्गतिप्रदा सर्वेश्वरी सर्वमयी सर्वमंत्रस्वरूपिणी सर्वयंत्रात्मिका सर्वतंत्ररूपा मनोन्मनी माहेश्वरी महादेवी महालक्ष्मीर्मुणप्रिया महारूपा महापूज्या महापातकनाशिनी महामाया महासत्वा महाशक्तिर्महारतिः महाभोगा महेश्वर्या महावीर्या महाबला महाबुद्धिर्महासिद्धिर्महायोगेश्वरेश्वरी महातंत्रा महामंत्रा महायंत्रा महासना महायागक्रमाराध्या महाभैरवपूजिता महेश्वर महाकल्पा महातांडवसाक्षिणी महाकामेश महिषी महात्रिपुरसुंदरी चतुष्षष्टुपचाराढ्या चतुष्षष्टिकलामयी महाचतुष्षष्टिकोटि योगिनी गणसेविता मनुविद्या चंद्रविद्या चंद्रमंडलमध्यगा चारुरूपा चारुभासा चारुचंद्र कलाधरा चराचर जगन्नाथा चक्रराजनिकेतना पार्वती पद्मनयना पद्मराग समप्रभा पंचप्रेतासनासीना पंचब्रह्मस्वरूपिणी चिन्मयी परमानंदा विज्ञान घनरूपिणी ध्यान ध्यात्र ध्येय रूपा धर्माधर्म विवर्जिता विश्वरूपा जागरिणी स्वपंथी तेजसात्मिका सुप्ता प्राज्ञात्मिका तुर्या सर्वावस्था विवर्जिता सृष्टिकर्त्री ब्रह्मरूपा गोप्त्री गोविंदरूपिणी संहारिणी रुद्ररूपा तिरोधानकरीश्वरी सदाशिवानुग्रहदा पंचकृत्यपरायणा भानुमंडल मध्यस्था भैरवी भगमालिनी पद्मासना भगवती पद्मनाभ सहोदरी उन्मेष निमिषोत्पन्न विपन्न भुवनावली सहस्रशीर्षवदना सहस्राक्षी सहस्रपात आब्रह्म कीट जननी वर्णाश्रम विधायिनी निजाज्ञारूप निगमा पुण्या पुण्यफलप्रदा श्रुति सीमंत सिंदूरी कृतपादाब्जधूलिका सकलागम संदोह शुक्ति संपुट मुक्तिका पुरुषार्थप्रदा पूर्णा भोगिनी भुवनेश्वरी अंबिकानाधिनिधना हरिब्रह्मेन्द्र सेविता नारायणी नादरूपा नामरूप विवर्जिता ह्रींकारी ह्रीमती हृदया हेयोपादेयवर्जिता राजराजार्चिता राज्ञी रम्या राजीवलोचना रंजनी रमणीरस्य रणत्किङ्किणी मेखला रमा राकेन्दुवदना रतिरूपा रतिप्रिया रक्षाकरी राक्षसग्नि रामा रमणलम्पटा काम्या कामकलारूपा कदम्बकुसुमप्रिया कल्याणी जगती कंदा करुणा रससागरा कलावती कलालापा कांता कादंबरी प्रिया वरदा वामनयना वारुणी मदविह्वला विश्वाधिका वेदवेद्या विंध्याचलनिवासिनी विधात्री वेदजननी विष्णुमाया विलासिनी क्षेत्रस्वरूपा क्षेत्रेशी क्षेत्रक्षेत्रज्ञपालिनी क्षयवृद्धिविनिर्मुक्ता क्षेत्रपाल समर्चिता विजया विमला वन्द्या वन्दारुजनवत्सला वाग्वादिनी वामकेशी वह्निमण्डलवासिनी भक्तिमत्कल्पलतिका पशुपाशविमोचनी संहृता शेषपाषण्डा सदाचारप्रवर्तिका तापत्रयाग्निसन्तप्ता समाह्लादनचन्द्रिका तरुणी तापसाराध्या तनुमध्या तमोपहा चितिस्सत्पदलक्ष्यार्था चिदेकरसरूपिणी स्वात्मानन्दलवीभूता ब्रह्माद्यानन्दसन्ततिः परा प्रत्यक्षितिरूपा पश्यन्ती परदेवता मध्यमा वैखरीरूपा भक्तमानसांसिका कामेश्वर प्राणाड़ी कृतज्ञा कामपूजिता श्रृंगाररस संपूर्णा जया जालंधर स्थिता ओड्यानपीठ निलया बिंदुमंडलवासिनी रहो याग क्रमाराध्या रहस्तर्पण तर्पिता सद्य प्रसादिनी विश्वसाक्षिणी साक्षिवर्जिता षडंग देवता युक्ता षाड्गुण्य परिपूरिता नित्यक्लिन्ना निरुपमा निर्वाण सुखदायिनी नित्या षोडशिका रूपा श्रीकंठार्धशरीरिणी प्रभावती प्रभारूपा प्रसिद्धा परमेश्वरी मूल प्रकृतिरव्यक्ता व्यक्ता व्यक्त स्वरूपिणी व्यापिनी विविधाकारा विद्या विद्या स्वरूपिणी महाकामेश नयना कुमुदाह्लाद कौमुदी भक्तहार्दतमोभेदा भानुमद्भानुसन्ततिः शिवदूती शिवाराध्या शिवमूर्तिर्शिवङ्करी शिवप्रिया शिवपरा शिष्टेष्टा शिष्टपूजिता अप्रमेया स्वप्रकाशा मनोवाचामगोचरा चिच्छक्तिश्चेतना रूपा जडशक्तिर्जडात्मिका गायत्री व्याहृति संध्या द्विजवृंद निषेविता तत्वासना तत्वमयी पंचकोशांतरस्थिता निस्सीम महिमा नित्य यौवनामदशालिनी मदघूर्णितरक्ताक्षी मदपाटलगण्डभूः चन्दनद्रवदिग्धांगी चाम्पेय कुसुमप्रिया कुशला कोमलाकारा कुरुकुल्लाकुलेश्वरी कुलकुण्डालया कौलमार्गतत्परसेविता कुमारगणनाथाम्बा तुष्टिपुष्टिर्मतिर्धृतिः शान्तिस्वस्तिमती कान्तिर्नन्दिनी विघ्ननाशिनी तेजोवती त्रिनयना लोलाक्षी कामरूपिणी मालिनी हंसिनी माता मलयाचलवासिनी सुमुखी नलिनी शुभ्रशोभना सुरनायिका कालकंटी कांतिमती क्षोभिणी सूक्ष्मरूपिणी वज्रेश्वरी वामदेवी वयोवस्था विवर्जिता सिद्धेश्वरी सिद्धविद्या सिद्धमाता यशस्विनी विशुद्धिचक्रनिलया रक्तवर्णा त्रिलोचना खट्वांगादिप्रहरणा वदनैकसमन्विता पायसान्नप्रिया त्वक्स्था पशुलोकभयङ्करी अमृतादिमहाशक्ति संवृता डाकिनीश्वरी अनाहताब्जनिलया श्यामा भावदनद्वया दंशोज्ज्वला क्षमालादि धरा रुधिरसंसिता कालरात्र्यादिशक्त्योखा वृता स्निग्धौधनप्रिया महावीरेन्द्र वरदा राकिण्यम्बा स्वरूपिणी मणिपूराब्जनिलया वदनत्रयसंयुता वज्रादिकायुधोपेता डामर्यादिभिरावृता रक्तवर्णा मांसनिष्ठा गुडान्न प्रीतमानसा समस्त भक्ति सुखदा लाकिन्यम्बा स्वरूपिणी स्वाधिष्ठानाम्बुजगता चतुर्वक्त्र मनोहरा शूलाध्यायुध संपन्ना पीतवर्णातिकर्विता मेधोनिष्ठा मधुप्रीता बंधिन्यादिसमन्विता दध्यन्नासक्त हृदया काकिनी रूपधारिणी मूलाधाराम्बुजारूढ़ा पंचवक्त्रास्त्र संसिता अंकुशादिप्रहरणा वरदादिनिषेविता मुद्गौदनासक्तचित्ता साकिन्यम्बा स्वरूपिणी आज्ञाचक्राब्जनिलया शुक्लवर्णा षडानना मज्जा संस्था हंसवती मुख्यशक्ति समन्विता हरिद्रानैकरसिका हाकिनी रूपधारिणी सहस्रदल पद्मस्था सर्ववर्णोपशोभिता सर्वायुधधरा शुक्ल संस्थिता सर्वतोमुखी सर्वोदन प्रीतचित्ता याकिन्यम्बा स्वरूपिणी स्वाहा स्वधा मतिर्मेधा श्रुतिस्मृतिरनुत्तमा पुण्यकीर्ति पुण्यलभ्या पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तना पुलोमजार्चिता बंधमोचनी बंधुरालका विमर्शरूपिणी विद्या वेदादिजगत्प्रसूः सर्वव्याधिप्रशमनी सर्वमृत्युनिवारिणी अग्रगण्या चिन्त्यरूपा कलिकल्मषनाशिनी कात्यायनी कालहन्त्री कमलाक्षनिषेविता ताम्बूलपूरितमुखी दाडिमी कुसुमप्रभा मृगाक्षी मोहिनी मुख्या मृडानी मित्ररूपिणी नित्यतृप्ता भक्तनिधिर्नियन्त्री निखिलेश्वरी मैत्र्यादिवासनालभ्या महाप्रलयसाक्षिणी पराशक्तिः परानिष्ठा प्रज्ञानघनरूपिणी माध्वीपानालसामत्ता मातृकावर्णरूपिणी महाकैलासनिलया मृणालमृदुदोर्लता महनीया दयामूर्तिर्महासाम्राज्यशालिनी आत्मविद्या महाविद्या श्रीविद्या कामसेविता श्री षोडशाक्षरी विद्या त्रिकूटा कामकोटिका कटाक्ष किंकरी भूता कमला कोटि सेविता शिरस्थिता चंद्रनिभा भालस्तेन्द्रधनुप्रभा हृदयस्था रविप्रख्या त्रिकोणांतरदीपिका दाक्षायनी दैत्यहंत्री दक्ष यज्ञ विनाशिनी दरांदोलित दीर्घाक्षी दरहासोज्ज्वलन्मुखी गुरुमूर्तिर्गुणनिधिर्गोमाता गुहजन्मभूः देवेशी दण्डनीतिस्था दहराकाशरूपिणी प्रतिपन्मुख्यराकान्ते तिथिमण्डलपूजिता कलात्मिका कलानाथा काव्यालाप विनोदिनी सचामररमावाणी सव्यदक्षिणसेविता आदिशक्तिरमेयात्मा परमा पावनाकृतिः अनेक कोटि ब्रह्मांड जननी दिव्य विग्रह क्लींकारी केवला गुह्या कैवल्यपददायिनी त्रिपुराद्रि जगद्वन्द्या त्रिमूर्तिस्तदशेश्वरी त्र्यक्षरी दिव्यगन्धाढ्या सिन्दूरतिलकाञ्चिता उमा शैलेन्द्रतनया गौरी गन्धर्वसेविता विश्वगर्भा स्वर्णगर्भा वरदा वागधीश्वरी ध्यानगम्या परिच्छेद्या ज्ञानदाज्ञानविग्रहा सर्ववेदान्तसंवेद्या सत्यानन्दस्वरूपिणी लोपामुद्रार्चिता लीलक्लुप्तब्रह्माण्डमण्डला अदृश्यादृश्यरहिता विज्ञात्री वेद्यवर्जिता योगिनी योगदा योग्या योगानंदा युगंधरा इच्छाशक्ति ज्ञानशक्ति क्रियाशक्ति स्वरूपिणी सर्वाधारा सुप्रतिष्ठा सदसद्रूपधारिणी अष्टमूर्तिरजा जैत्री लोकयात्रा विधायिनी एकाकिनी भूमरूपा निर्द्वैता द्वैतवर्जिता अन्नदा वसुधा वृद्धा ब्रह्मात्मैक्य स्वरूपिणी बृहती ब्राह्मणी ब्राह्मी ब्रह्मानंद बलिप्रिया भाषा रूपा बृहत्सेना भावा भाव विवर्जिता सुखाराध्या शुभकरी शोभना सुलभागतिः राजराजेश्वरी राज्यदायिनी राज्यवल्लभा राजत्कृपा राजपीठ निवेशित निजाश्रिता राज्यलक्ष्मी कोशनाथा चतुरंगबलेश्वरी साम्राज्यदायिनी सत्यसंधा सागरमेखला दीक्षिता दैत्यशमनी सर्वलोकवशंकरी सर्वार्थदात्री सावित्री सच्चिदानंदरूपिणी देशकाला परिच्छिन्ना सर्वगा सर्वमोहिनी सरस्वती शास्त्रमयी गुहांबा गुह्यरूपिणी सर्वोपाधि विनिर्मुक्ता सदाशिवपतिव्रता संप्रदायेश्वरी साध्वी गुरुमंडलरूपिणी कुलोत्तीर्णा भगाराध्या माया मधुमतीमही गणांबा गुह्यकाराध्या कोमलांगी गुरुप्रिया स्वतंत्रा सर्वतंत्रेशी दक्षिणामूर्तिरूपिणी सनकादिसमाराध्या शिवज्ञानप्रदायिनी चित्कलानंदकलिका प्रेमरूपा प्रियंकरी नामपारायण प्रीता नंदिविद्या नटेश्वरी मिथ्या जगदधिष्ठाना मुक्तिदा मुक्तिरूपिणी लास्यप्रिया लयकरी लज्जारंबाधिवंदिता भवदा वसुधा वृष्टिपापारण्यदवानला दौर्भाग्यतूलवातूला जराध्वान्तरविप्रभा भाग्याब्धिचंद्रिका भक्तचित्तकेकी घना घना रोगपर्वतदम्बोलिर्मृत्युदारुकुठारिका महेश्वरी महाकाली महाग्रासा महाशना अपर्णा चंडिका चंडमुंडासुरनिषूदिनी क्षराक्षरात्मिका सर्वलोकेशी विश्वधारिणी त्रिवर्गदात्री सुभगा त्र्यंबका त्रिगुणात्मिका स्वर्गापवर्गदा शुद्धा जपा पुष्पनिभाकृतिः ओजोवती दुधिधरा यज्ञरूपा प्रियव्रता दुराराध्या दुराधर्षा पाटली कुसुमप्रिया महती मेरुनिलया मंदार कुसुमप्रिया वीराराध्या विराड्रूपा विरजा विश्वतोमुखी प्रत्यग्रूपा पराकाशा प्राणदा प्राणरूपिणी मार्ताण्डभैरवाराध्या मन्त्रिणीन्यस्तराज्यदूः त्रिपुरेशी जयत्सेना निस्त्रैगुण्या परापरा सत्यज्ञानानन्दरूपा सामरस्यापरायणा कपर्दिनी कलामाला कामधुक्कामरूपिणी कलानिधिः काव्यकला रसज्ञा रससेवदिः पुष्टा पुरातना पूज्या पुष्करा पुष्करेक्षणा परञ्ज्योतिः परन्धामा परमाणुः परात्परा पाशहस्ता पाशहन्त्री परमन्त्रविभेदिनी मूर्ता मूर्ता नित्यतृप्ता मुनिमानसांसिका सत्यव्रता सत्यरूपा सर्वान्तर्यामिनी सती ब्रह्माणी ब्रह्मजननी बहुरूपा बुधार्चिता प्रसवित्री प्रचण्डाज्ञा प्रतिष्ठा प्रकटाकृतिः प्राणेश्वरी प्राणदात्री पंचाशत्पीठरूपिणी विशृङ्खला विविक्तस्था वीरमाता वियत्प्रसूः मुकुन्दा मुक्तिनिलया मूलविग्रहरूपिणी भावज्ञा भवरोगग्नि भवचक्रप्रवर्तिनी छन्दस्सारा शास्त्रसारा मंत्रसारा तलोदरी उदार कीर्तिरुद्दाम वैभवा वर्णरूपिणी जन्म मृत्युजरा तप्ता जन विश्रांतिदायिनी सर्वोपनिषदुद्घुष्टा शांति अतीत कलात्मिका गंभीरा गगनांतस्था गर्विता गानलोलुपा कल्पनारहिता काष्ठा कांता कांतार्धविग्रहा कार्यकारण निर्मुक्ता कामकेली तरंगिता कनत कनकताटंक लीला विग्रहधारिणी अजाक्षय विनिर्मुक्ता मुग्धा क्षिप्रप्रसादिनी अंतर्मुख समाराध्या बहिर्मुख सुदुर्लभा त्रयी त्रिवर्ग निलया त्रिस्त्रा त्रिपुरमालिनी निरामया निरालंबा स्वात्मा रामा सुधा सती संसार पंक निर्मग्न समुद्धरण पंडिता यज्ञ प्रिया यज्ञकर्त्री यजमान स्वरूपिणी धर्माधारा धनाध्यक्षा धनधान्य विवर्धिनी विप्रप्रिया विप्ररूपा विश्वभ्रमणकारिणी विश्वग्रासा विद्रुमाभा वैष्णवी विष्णुरूपिणी आयो निर्यो निलया कूटस्था कुलरूपिणी वीरगोष्ठी प्रिया वीरा नैष्कर्म्यानादरूपिणी विज्ञानकलनाकल्या विदग्धा वैन्दवासना तत्वादिका तत्वमयी तत्वमर्थस्वरूपिणी सामगान प्रिया सौम्या सदाशिवकुटुम्बिनी सव्यापसव्य मार्गस्था सर्वापद्विनिवारिणी स्वस्था स्वभाव मधुरा धीरा धीर समर्चिता चैतन्यार्घ्य समाराध्या चैतन्य कुसुम प्रिया सदोदिता सदातुष्टा तरुणादित्यपाटला दक्षिणा दक्षिणाराध्या दरस्मेर मुखाम्बुजा कौलिनी केवलानर्घ्या कैवल्यपददायिनी स्तोत्रप्रिया स्तुतिमती श्रुतिसंस्तुतवैभवा मनस्विनी मानवती महेशी मंगलाकृतिः विश्वमाता जगद्धात्री विशालाक्षी विरागिनी प्रगल्भा परमोदारा परामोदा मनोमयी व्योमकेशी विमानस्था वज्रिणी वामकेश्वरी पंचयज्ञप्रिया पंचप्रेतमंचाधिशायिनी पंचमी पंचभूतेशी पंचसंख्योपचारिणी शाश्वती शाश्वतैश्वर्या शर्मदा शंभुमोहिनी धरा धरसुता धन्या धर्मिणी धर्मवर्धिनी लोकातीता गुणातीता सर्वातीता शमात्मिका बंधु कुसुम प्रख्या बाला लीला विनोदिनी सुमंगली सुखकरी सुवेशाढ्या सुवासिनी सुवासिन्यर्चन प्रीता शोभना शुद्धमानसा बिंदु तर्पण संतुष्टा पूर्वजा त्रिपुरांबिका दशा मुद्रा समाराध्या त्रिपुरा श्रीवशंकरी ज्ञान मुद्रा ज्ञानगम्या ज्ञानज्ञेय स्वरूपिणी योनि मुद्रा त्रिखंडेशी त्रिगुणांबा त्रिकोणगा अनघाद्भुत चारित्र्या वांछिता अर्थप्रदायिनी अभ्यासातिशयज्ञाता षडध्वातीतरूपिणी अव्याज करुणामूर्तिरज्ञानध्वान्तदीपिका आबालगोपविदिता सर्वानुल्यङ्घ शासना श्रीचक्रराज निलया श्रीमत्त्रिपुरसुन्दरी श्री शिवा शिवशक्त्यैक्य रूपिणी ललितांबिका एवं श्रीललिता देव्या नाम साहस्रकं जगुः इति श्रीब्रह्माण्डपुराणे उत्तरखण्डे श्रीहयग्रीवागस्त्य संवादे श्रीललिता सहस्रनाम स्तोत्रकथनं सम्पूर्णम्. Give me about a minute, I'll just be back. Can you all hear me and see me clearly? We are in the 5th chapter. Around 8 shlokas I think we have completed or covered, but I'll go through it again. Let us do the invocation for Bhagavatam. Satchidanandarupaya Vishvotpatyadihetave Tapatraya Vinashaya Shri Krishnaya Vayam Namaha. Yam Pravrajantamanupedamapedakrityam Dvaipayano Virahakatara Ajuhava Putreti Tanmayataya Taravobhineduhu Tam Sarvabhuta Hridayam Munimanatosmi. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतः चार्थेष्वभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदाय आदिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयः यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि धर्मः प्रोज्झितकैतवोऽत्र परमः निर्मत्सराणां सतां वेद्यं वास्तवमत्र वस्तु शिवतं तापत्रयोन्मूलनम् श्रीमद्भागवते महामुनिकृते किं वा परैरीश्वरः सद्यो हृद्यवरुध्यतेऽत्र कृतिभिः शुश्रूषुभिस्तक्षणात् निगमकल्पतरोर्गलितं फलं शुकमुखादमृतद्रवसंयुतं पिबत भागवतं रसमालयं मुहुरहो रसिका भुवि भावुकाः मुहुरहो रसिका भुवि भावुकाः. Before we can proceed with the 5th chapter, I'm sure you all read the request for signing up for the Lalita Sahasranamam chanting for the Navaratris. Since this entire group has been learning, I thought that if everybody comes every day, it will be awesome. Okay, that's a given. But knowing that it is Navaratri times and you have your own personal puja and going to each other's house for various things, sign up in such a way that there are at least 3 to 4 people from this group. And similarly, the Thursday group also has learnt it. 3 to 4 coming from there and you taking the lead, and the rest of the mission membership that comes and attends. There is a better vibe in chanting when there are people that have learnt our chanting and leading it. So please sign up and let us be blessed by chanting this by the Trimurti, Three Devis, and let us enjoy this Navaratri with this special effort. Last 2 years, it was me and Brahmacharyans that were chanting it online, and you all participated. So we want to continue that tradition, but I want to see you all step in and take the lead effort. We 3 will be there. There will be several other mission members, but I want you to take that lead and let's set this tradition for years to come. Okay, good. So our Bhagavan Shiva, as soon as he heard that this is what happened of Sati Devi, that she has quit from her body. बस और क्या था? As long as he is in his meditative equipoise, he is Sadashiva, Prashanta Vigraha. But when he takes, it gets triggered into Rudra Rupa. Nothing, no force can stop him. Even within the Trimurtis, the Brahma Vishnu cannot reach out to him to put that Shanti Swarupa. So in that anger, from his jata, he pulled a strand of hair and then struck it on the earth. Out came this Veerabhadra. He himself did not have a namakarana. But then when asked, who am I? What am I to do? Kim karomiti? Hey Bhagavan, what should I be doing? So I said, you will today from henceforth be called as Veerarudra or Veerabhadra. What I want you to do is, this comes in the fourth shloka. Tam kim karomiti granantamaha baddhanjalim bhagavan bhutanataha daksham sayajnam jahi madbhatanam tvamagrani rudrabhatam shakome. Kim karomi iti. Kinkaraha, gopher. I am ready to do what you bid me to do, but what should I be doing? Who am I? Thus he very piously folded his hands and asked of Bhagavan Shiva. Then Bhagavan Shiva said, Tvam agrani rudra bhatam shakome. You are my amsha. You are born of me, my amsha expression. Therefore, I want you to take a lead of all my bhata. Bhata, the servants. All my people who are well equipped, and you be their leader and lead them. Lead them to do what? Daksham sayagnyam jahimad bhatanam. That Daksha Yajna, he has done all that which has to be not done. And as his papa phala, you are the result of that papa. Go deliver that papa phala to them. One must not forget that Ishvara, Maheshwara as Ishvara, he also is the karma phala data as the Ishvara. What were the atrocities that were done by Daksha? That's why whenever there is anybody elderly, anybody worship worthy, anybody that is respect worthy, first and foremost, we need to get up and welcome them into that audience. Second, offer them a higher seat than us. Never be sitting on the same level with them. Offer them a higher seat than us, even if it means that we sit at their feet. Then first offer whatever has to be offered unto them as the Athitya, then partake. Then with their permission, you speak or express what has to be expressed, because it is in their presence now. It is in their permission that you behave. This is also the Sishtachara. Whatever be it, we cannot take that elderly, that respect-worthy one as an equal. Is to be that respect has to be given. And who are we talking here about? He is the Ishvara of this entire universe. Therefore, another name of him is Jagadishvara. Jagat, this creation, of that he is the end all be all. He is the master of this universe. In that universe, Daksha has one tiny portion of propagating. Of these several Prajapatis, he is one of the Prajapatis working under that Daksha. Whenever the hierarchy is misunderstood and we take our tiny little role so seriously that we forget that who we are answerable to, we can start questioning, challenging and ridiculing, we are way out of line. So Daksha Prajapati was way out of line. Not only that, he did not welcome Bhagavan Shiva. There was no seat offered. Bhagavan Shiva adjusted. He just sat down wherever. He never demanded it. And the Athitya was not given, that the Yajna portion was not even offered to Bhagavan Shiva. See, however it may be, when somebody is come, because they are there, we give them also. Daksha Prajapati went to the level of not giving him. He did not come back and even utter a single word to his wife that this is how your father treated. Or even worse, to take out that anger of the father on the daughter. Chi chi chi. A thorough gentleman like. Never even uttered. But when Sati Devi insisted that she wanted to go, he, remembering all that what was done, said, which could not be undone any further, he said, I don't think it is a right environment. See, sometimes our jadata or murkhata is, no, I want to know. There are things that cannot be or should not be revealed. But just because it is not being revealed, it doesn't mean that the person who is making the statement has no validity in saying what they are saying, especially when they are your well-wishers. Bhagavan Shiva did not want to reveal what had transpired because of the manastapa that would create, and the animosity could go to such a level wherein it is Veerabhadra, Shatrutva Bhava towards her own father, which he didn't want. But then she insisted. And no, I want to go to my father's place. I have not seen my mother. I have, but you don't have the invitation. See, to known loving environments, we can be an athithi, an uninvited person, especially when it is to, when she makes the statement with Bhagavan Shiva, where she says, to the parents, to the guru, and to the doctor. You can go there uninvited. But here there is a special situation where there has been a purposeful event that has been organized, and they have taken every possible measure to not have you there, not invite you to it. But then she insisted, she went. She was not welcomed. Not only that she was not welcomed, she saw that there was no ordained platform for Bhagavan Shiva or any offerings that were offered to Bhagavan Shiva. Because there is that Yajna Bhaga which has to be offered. Remember the hierarchy. He may be your son-in-law, but in the hierarchy he is that Ishvara. Cannot be unseen or neglected. And then Daksha goes on to a rant and criticizes Bhagavan Shiva. All the venomous things that he had said to Bhagavan Shiva, he said to his daughter. और क्या था? She said, Dad, I feel so disgusted that I have this body that I am in is from you. I feel disgusted with this body. This is not worthy to be re-offered back to Bhagavan Shiva. It has to be now done with. It has to be now done with. So she invoked that Agni, Prana Agni, and left from the body. There's a yoga kriya where we have seen Dronacharya do it, we have seen Bhishmacharya do it. So it was the same yoga kriya where she invoked the pranagni and quit the body right then and there. Now this information came to Bhagavan Shiva, and Bhagavan Shiva said, I think the, जैसे कहते हैं हिंदी में कि पाप की घटी अब भर गई है. It is now filled. That Daksha has done things which now have culminated in this kind of a situation, that his papa phala has to be given. So therefore Veerabhadra, for all the atrocities that and one more gravest of the things is Bhagavat Ninda is the worst of the papa that anybody can commit. Knowingly, unknowingly, doesn't matter. Oh, but I did not know. Our ignorance is not something that will justify. The nature's law works. Supposing there is a live wire and I am a scientist, I know how to work with it, but I inadvertently touch that live wire, it is going to give me a shock. Okay, I knew it, but I played with it, it gave me a shock. But that live wire is a small kid, Ayoyo Papa. There is a small kid touching that live wire. Now the live wire is not going to sit there and analyze. Is there an intent behind? What is the age of the one that is doing? Ayoyo, such a tender kolamda. Little fellow. It doesn't matter. झटका तो लगने वाला है. That is how nature's law impartially works. So when Deva's Ninda is done, that individual who has done it and the individuals that have heard it but have not protested against it, Maunam Angikara Lakshanam. If we did not stand up, see, there are with this regard, I have 5 places of worshipfulness which, for my understanding or for my functionality, are unacceptable to be criticized. Bhagavan, Shastra, Guru, Mata Pita, and the Punya Bhumi Bharata cannot be ridiculed and will not be tolerated. Personally, you come criticize, it doesn't matter, can be ignored. But these 5 cannot be ignored. Why? Because the one who is doing that Ninda and the ones who are standing around in Mauna accepting that Ninda without protest from that individual is going to share that Papa. Let that sink in. हमें क्या है, जो बोलता है बोलने दो, हम तो ऐसे ही. No, you will be sharing that Papa as well. Am I getting across? Because you will see the impact of it. At that time, this point should be very clear. When these 5 are being censured or being criticized or being belittled, and you don't even protest or walk away from there in protest, you share the papa, you are not an innocent bystander anymore. हमें क्या है, जो है वो ईश्वर देखेगा, ईश्वर का ही फल होगा वो. Because you will see, including Pusha. Pusha is Surya. Surya, Bhrugu, all of them were there. They did not protest, they participated in laughing at it. So as Bhagavan Shiva said, from those standpoints of kukarma, the point that I'm trying to again insist is, it was not because of any insult at a personal level. It was karma and karma phala. And Ishvara is that karma phala data. As a karma phala data, he said, Daksha yajna, everything, dhvamsi kuru. Destroy it all. Now order mil gaya. Once the order was given, what happened? This Veerabhadra stood up, did pradakshina of that Bhagavan Shiva 3 times, did Sashtanga Dandavat Pranam, and looked around to those Rudraganas that were standing, Rudrabhatas that were standing there, and gave the charge and said, Hara Hara Mahadev, and then started. Now this Veerabhadra was just born. He did not completely understand all the strength and power that he could hold. As he started running, chalo chalo jaldi aao, let's go. And he turned around, he saw at a distance that there was the dust that was raising, because he had outrun all of them. He said, oh, I have a lot of strength, huh? It's not just that I'm angry, and it's not just that this is a Rudra Bhava, but I do have all these strengths. He started discovering his strength as he was running towards Daksha Yajna. So one by one he explored all these strengths, and as he started exploring, as he started recognizing it, more vigor added into him. Now this is from Camp Shiva, the tornado that just started. Okay, this was the scene. Now scene cut. Now let us see from the Daksha Yajna's Yajnashala, how was it perceived? So that is being given in the 7th shloka. Atha Ritvijo Yajamana Sadasyaha. So that Ritvijas and all those who were seated in that Yajnashala, they saw that there was a dust storm that was like coming. Before the storm hit, the dust started hitting them pretty hard. It hit them so hard, and they started thinking, where is this darkness that is coming? Where is this whole thing being enveloped? And this fine dust particles hitting us with such speed. This is not a season for such rains or tornadoes or dust storms and things like that. Where is this coming from? Vatana vanti nahi santi dasyavaha prachina barhir jivati hogradandaha gavo nakalayanta idam kutorajaha. They said, is it the time for the monsoons and winds and such? Is it time? No, I don't think it is a time for that. Is it that there is this Prachina Barhi was a king who was known for his decisiveness in maintaining the entire kingdom in amazing Punya Bhumi. So anybody doing any atrocity, he would come and at a very enormous speed and deliver justice. And it is said that whenever he would go in his ratha, there would be this kind of a dust storm. Prachina Barhi is also not there at this moment. Then they said, is it the time of Godhuli? Godhuli is the time when the cows and the sheep and all these animals, they come back home around 4:35ish, when it is an hour or so before the sun sets. They have the internal clock and they start walking back. Wherever they have gone, they start walking back in groups, and there is that dust that rises. This is not Godhuli Vela either. Loko dhuna kim pralayaya kalpate? Or is there is some pralaya that is going to come that we were not aware of? As everybody was panicking looking at this dust storm, Prasuti, the wife of Daksha, the one who delivers all this creation. That's why the word for delivery in Sanskritam is Prasuti. Remember the connections. The words I have said, very deep, significant meanings. So Daksha is Karya Daksha, who has to create. His wife is Prasuti. She steps back out of all of this chaos, confusion, and rewinds in her mind. ये क्या हो सकता है? अब क्यों हो रहा है? What is this? And why is it happening at this point of time? Then she realizes, and she says, before she says anything, she gathers all her daughters to safety and to one corner before the chaos begins and everybody starts. There is a stampede. She gathers them all and then says, I think this is the phala of Sati Tiraskar. The way Sati Devi innocently came to her own family and she was ridiculed, ignored, neglected. On the top of it, she was censured. Her husband, who is that Bhagavan Shiva himself, he was ridiculed, belittled. I believe, the gut feeling says that this is the phala of that papa that has come. It looks like that when there is Pralaya Kala, when Bhagavan Shiva takes his Rudra avatar for the Pralaya to ensure that everything is merged back, similar descriptions have been given. And as she was pondering, all these people, they arrived at the Yajnashala. Around the Yajnashala, they covered it all from all directions. And she could see in that sandstorm, in that dust storm, there is this huge figure, a look-alike of Bhagavan Shiva. Definitely not Bhagavan Shiva. A look-alike who is looking much younger, but a radiant form. See, there is a radiance which is pleasant, and there is a radiance which is prachanda, which kind of pierces the skin burningly. Like if you see the midday sun, especially in Texas, we feel that, right? That also has a radiance, but it is that torturing effect, right? The moon in the night is also radiating, but it does not have that swabhava. Here, though he is radiating, it is like a burning sensation. Just like how in the Shastra he is described with all the Astra Shastra of the Pralaya Kala, he is looking exactly like that. So definitely this is the result of my husband Daksha, his arrogance and his pride, and the way he behaved, belittling Mahashiva, Sadashiva. It is the result of this kukarma. And definitely Sati Devi was the trigger. Just now in Lalita Sahasranamam we read Daksha Yajna Vinashini. There was that word, Daksha Yajna Vinashini. So how? Because she became the trigger for this whole episode to unleash. Then those who were, and then she says also, right? Karaladam Shravihi, 11th shloka. Karaladam Shravihi, this whole Ugra form that is standing in front of us with all the teeth and the tongue and the matted hair flowing in all directions. Just like how in the movies they show the opening scene from foot to the hair, and then suddenly there is wind blowing and the hair is all like there was no side effects there. It was like the very original. And how is it looking? Astvasti kim kopayato vidhatuhu. It is like that Ishvara who has come to deliver the results, Vidhata, as that Ishvara who has come to deliver the results of our wrongdoings. What were the rest of them doing? Those who had come to that Yajnashala, they were staring at each other and looking at that environment and surroundings, and they were so scared that though they wanted to say things, they could not even utter, Bhage? Shall we run? Even that was like, completely stopped. By the time they could, stare at each other, हिंदी में या उर्दू में बोलते हैं ताकते रहना, तो एक दूसरे को डर के मारे ताकते रहे बस. They were just gaping at each other out of fear. By this time, all the Rudra Bhattas, Rudra Ganas, they encircled this Yajnashala. How were they? They were also equally bhikara. First of all, Rudra Ganas are Vismita. They are surprisingly different. In today's language, differently abled. One had a Trinetra, one had the mouth in the stomach, the one had Vyaghrapada. His name itself is Vyaghrapada. That the human body and the hands and legs had the lion's or the tiger's paws. Nandi, Chandi, Kundodara, Patanjali, Vyaghrapada, Vinayaka, Shanmukhadyahi, Ityadi, Ganadi. All these Ganas and their representatives were all there. So they are already Vichitra. They come in all sizes. There is tons of them who are like midgets. There are then tons of them who are as fat that they don't need to run, they just have to roll. So there are these gigantic ones who toss them into the Yajnashala as a rolling pin, like those 10 bowling. So like the ball in the bowling arena, they just have to be tossed in. I mean, looking at it, it may sound funny, but it is scary to have all these options there. So they were, how were they? Were they in their meditative equipoise? Nuh-uh. They were screaming, shouting, making sounds. That scared the living daylights of anybody who was there in that Yajnashala. And they all had Astra Shastra. And with those Astra Shastra, they jumped into the Yajnashala. First was the 13th and 14th sloka describes the destruction. They first attacked the Pragvamsha. Pragvamsha is the east part of the Yajnashala, which is the main entrance. So they pulled the stamba that was holding the Yajnashala. There is one load-bearing beam. There are several load-bearing beams. The eastern side load-bearing beam was pulled down. The entire Yajnashala fell right there. Then the Paschima Disha, where there are the women and others who were there, that side, that load-bearing beam was also pulled down. Then the Sabha Mandapa and the Agnidrashala, where the main Homakunda is established, where the Havan is performed, there are 4 pillars. All 4 pillars were pulled down. It says in the 14th sloka, Sada Agnidrashalam cha Tadviharam Mahanasam. So there was chaos unleashed. If you have attended the Yajna, there is Yajna Vedika, and around that Yajna Vedika there is a Raksha, that is a band that is tied down, saying that henceforth whoever is stepping in have to have certain standards, otherwise they will not be stepping in. So that was broken down. Yajna Kalashas were broken down. The Ahutis were thrown here and there, and the fire was lighting up everywhere that it fell. Now the Rishi Muni started running, Devata Gana started running, the women were already secured by Prasuti behind her. She was protecting them, though these people were, trying to intimidate them with all the sounds and gestures, but she was protecting them. So what happened meanwhile? Manivana Brugumba Bhanda Manivana Veerabhadra Prajapatim Chandishah Pushanam Devam Bhagam Nandishwaro Grahit. 17th sloka. Manivana, one of the Rudra Bhatta, he caught hold of Rishi Bhrigu. Remember, he was doing Shapa, counter Shapa, and making all. So he tied him down. Veerabhadra captured Prajapati. Chandisha captured Pusha. Pushan is one of the names of Bhagavan Surya. So Pusha was captured. Then Nandishwara got hold of Bhaga. Bhaga को भागते हुए नंदीश्वर ने भागकर पकड़ा. So Bhaga was caught by Nandishwara. And all these other devatas that were running away, and they were all captured as and when they were found. Now in all this chaos, what happened? This Bhrigu, when Daksha Prajapati was making all these ignoble statements about Bhagavan Shiva, he, it seems, was twisting his mustache. That word didn't strike. So he was twisting it and stroking his beard. It must have been longer, way longer than all of this. So he was doing all of that, like, appreciating it, enjoying it. So Veerabhadra turned to him, caught hold of his mustache, long mustache and his beard, and ripped it out completely. फेशियल हो गया उनका. Free facial done. Pachak. All of that came out. Then Nandi, no, sorry, it was Chandisha turned to Pusha, and Pusha was laughing, it seems, when Daksha was making such statements, and encouragingly patting Bhrugu's shoulder when he gave Shapa, when he ensured the curses that were released. He was laughing, it seems. So here Chandisha, gave him one tight fist to his jaw, and all his teeth, cracked, powdered, fell down. I am connecting this particular part of the story to something else which is not mentioned here. Whenever January 14th or 15th, we celebrate Sankranti. If you observe, what is the Naivedya that is given in Sankranti? Two kinds of dishes are, one savory, one sweet. Fresh rice, fresh dal from the farm, and you put it in a pot, cook it till it becomes mushy. ये जो कोई भी बनाते हैं खिचड़ी के नाम पे हर दाना दिखता हो, वो खिचड़ी नहीं है, वो पुलाव हो सकता है. Khichdi is only then when it is completely a mushy mass. And that is offered to Surya Deva. Why? Because he is Vedanti. Where did he lose his teeth? In this Daksha Yajna. Are a connection? So don't put lot of this, pieces of coconut and things like that which he cannot chew. Because he is Vedanti. वेदांति मतलब जिसके दांत विहीन है, दंत विहीन. So one job is less in his life. He does not have to brush his teeth. Just gargle and he is done. So this, then Bhaga, he was slammed on the floor. So the one or two bones here or there must have broken. Then Veerabhadra turned his attention towards Daksha Prajapati, and he was being very stubborn. So he pulled him to the Pashubali Vedika and then cut his head, ran around with his head all over the Yajnashala, and then threw it in that burning Yajna Vedika and was done. All of them wrapped up from there, because all those who were the major contributors in this confusion, they were punished, and those who were bystanders that were standing, they were also punished. So the Papa Phala, it hits even those that were innocent bystanders. I did nothing. They were saying it, they did it, I was just standing there, I did not do anything. Your mauna is an angikara, an approval for what they have done, and that incurs that papa as well. So don't be a innocent bystander when adharma is happening, especially towards deva, where deva ninda is being done. And I gave you the 5 parameters that I have for myself. I had heard it from a Mahatma. since it felt very convincing, so I have kept it to myself. Now, while this was happening in the 6th chapter, the introduction, we'll see a couple of shlokas. Maitreya Ji is telling to Vidura Ji. So now that this has happened, it is not that this is the first time Vidura Ji is hearing this story either. Whenever such great stories are there and such a great narrator is there, who doesn't want to listen to these? So Vidura Ji was listening to Maitreya Rishi and said all these Rishiganas and Devatas who could escape from there after being nicely given, smacked at, they all ran to Brahmaji. Now Brahmaji, who had already heard of this, he was also there. As soon as this happened, he became Antardhana. Bhagwan Vishnu also was aware of this. So all these devatas along with Bhagwan Brahma, they approached Bhagwan Vishnu. Now all of them sat down and said, you know what, he is independent. Rudra, he is independent, and he being the Ishvara can be the karma phaladhata. He has done nothing wrong. But now Brahmaji says there is a situation wherein we have to move forward, and to move forward I need Daksha, I need but that is now destroyed. What do? We go pray to Bhagwan Shiva himself. Now here is where there is that approachability to Bhagwan Shiva, because he now was carrying that Sati Devi's body on himself, and he was in the most terrifying forms of Rudravatara, and he could not be controlled. So what happened then? That we will see next week in this 6th chapter. The message being that do not do Ishaninda, Devaninda, or any of the other 4 that I have mentioned, and don't be a bystander allowing it to happen. Because the karma phala will be this terrifying. Then you don't say, oh, I have never even hurt an ant. Why is this happening to me? कच्चा चिट्टा निकालेंगे ना, सब पता चलेगा. कोई इनोसेंट नहीं है. Okay. I'll request Sushma Joshi Amma to unmute herself and chant Hanuman Chalisa.
हरिओम स्वामी जी.
Harioma.
श्री गुरु चरण सरोज रज निज मन मुकुर सुधारी, बरनौ रघुबर बिमल जसु जो दायक फलचारी. बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरौ पवन कुमार, बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरौ कलेस विकार. जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर, जय कपीसतिहु लोक उजागर. रामदूत अतुलित बल धामा, अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा. महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी, कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी. कंचन बरन बिराज सुबेसा, कानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा. हाथ ब्रज और ध्वजा बिराजे, कांधे मूंज जनेऊ साजे. शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन, तेज प्रताप महाजगबंदन. विद्यावान गुणियति चातुर, राम काज करिबे को आतुर. प्रभु चरित्र सुनबे को रसिया, राम लखन सीता मन बसिया. सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सियहि दिखावा, विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा. भीम रूप धरि असुर सहारे, रामचंद्र के काज सवारे. लाए से जीवन लखन जियाए, श्री रघुबीर हर्षि उर लाए. रघुपति कीन्ही बहुत बड़ाई, तुम मम प्रिय भरतहि सम भाई. सहस बदन तुम जस गावे, अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावे. सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा नारद सारद सहित अहिसा जम कुबेर दिक्पाल जहाते कभी कोपित कह सकै कहाते तुम उपकार सुग्रीव कीन्हा राम मिलाय राजपद दीना तुमरो मंत्र विभीषण माना लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना जुग सहस्त्र जो जन पर भानु लील्यो ताहि मधुर फल जानु प्रभु मुद्रिका मेलि मुख माहि जलधि लांघि गए अचरज नाहि दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते सुगम अनुग्रह तुमरे तेते राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे होतन आज्ञा बिनु पैसारे सब सुख लहै तुम्हारी सरना तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना आपन तेज समारो आपे तीनों लोक हाकते कापे भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे महावीर जप नाम सुनावे नासे रोग हरे सब पीरा जपत निरंतर हनुमत बीरा संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावे मन क्रम बचन ध्यान जो लावे सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा दिन के काज सकल तुम साजा और मनोरथ जो कोई लावे सोई अमित जीवन फल पावे चारों जुग परताप तुम्हारा है प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियारा साधु संत के तुम रखवारे असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे अष्ट सिद्धि नवनिधि के दाता असबर दीन जानकी माता राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा तुम्हारे भजन राम को पावे जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे अंत काल रघुपर पुर जाई जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई और देवता चित्त न धरई हनुमत से ईश्वर बस को करई संकट कटे मिटे सब पीरा जो सुमिरे हनुमत बल बीरा जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई कृपा करहु गुरुदेव की नाई जो सत पार पाठ कर कोई छूट ही बंदी महासुख होई जो यह पढ़े हनुमान चालीसा होय सिद्धि साखी गौरी सा तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा की जय नाथ हृदय डेरा की जय नाथ हृदय डेरा पवन तनय संकट हरन मंगल मूर्ति रूप राम लखन सीता सहित हृदय बसौ सुरभूप सियावर रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय उमापति महादेव की जय बोलो भाई सब संतन की जय सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय
धन्यवाद माते. Let us conclude, and please sign up for that Lalita Sahasranama list, and we'll have a grand celebration. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayah, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet, Asato Ma Sadgamaya, Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityor Ma Amritangamaya. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shant Shant Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Take care, everyone. We will